It's October 24th, 6 p.m. Central Time, you guys. Big roar to everyone who are here with us today. Welcome to our What About Your Story Saturdays, brought to you by Lion at Heart, Discovering Courage and Greatness Within, a leadership, personal, and spiritual book written by yours truly, Kai Hayes. Well, you can download a copy of the first chapter or purchase the book through my website, kaihayes.com, or go straight to amazon.com if you wish to read the entire book and get inspired. But today we are on our 19th live segment. Can you believe that? And by the grace of God, it just gets better and better each episode. And tonight, we are going to inspire you with our special guest. Our topic today is taken from chapter 6, Correcting the Errors of the Past. Guys, no one is perfect, so let's go make a change, right? Let's allow ourselves to learn and give ourselves a chance to rearrange our lives, for nothing is too late to achieve, because it is just a matter of time when we are called to make a decision. That's why every second and fourth Saturdays of the month, we bring you various remarkable individuals whose voices needed to be heard, hoping to inspire and give others hope. Our world is wounded. Darkness seems to try to envelope us these days, right? But Line at Heart Freedom Journey Movement says no to this all. We believe that we have the ability, no matter how small of a group we are right now, we can help light the world. And it can be done one step at a time. So why don't you join us in this crusade? Let the world hear your voices. We welcome you. So moving on, allow me to introduce to you three of my special Lioness Circle, who's joining me to interview our special guest. And I proudly present Cara Petron. Say hi, Cara.
Hi, everybody.
Riza Canal
Hi, everyone.
and Paulette Schnitke.
Hi.
Ladies, I am thrilled to have you with me right now. Are you excited just as I am?
Very
Right?
excited.
Okay, so dear Facebook world, I am honored to introduce to you my friend, my mentor, and the person I highly respect and admire, happily married to his love of his life, beautiful Jennifer, who recently just gave birth to their beautiful baby angel named Penelope. Taylor Worre, LifeVantage Director of New Leader Experience and last year's top corporate executive panel member at the European Direct Selling Congress. Yet tonight, we will hear the other side of who he is behind his massive success in his career. Because tonight is all about getting to know Taylor Worre's heart. Wow. Taylor, my dear friend, how are you?
Kai, I'm so good and I'm honored to be here. I literally have been reading this since it got here a couple of days ago. I love everything about the book and just honored to be here chatting with all of you amazing powerhouse ladies this evening.
Definitely, and grateful to you for blessing us tonight. So, are you ready to share your beautiful heart with us all?
I am ready. Like I said before we started, I am an open book. I hope you guys bring all the questions you can think of, and it is going to be my honor to share anything from my life that you guys would like to hear about.
Yes, and which makes you so beautiful inside and out, Tay. So, let me kick this off. The first query is, of course, please allow our audience to get to know you a bit. Tell us, who is Taylor Worre?
Well, Taylor Worre is a lot of things, but mostly he is a servant. I am a father. I am a partner to my unbelievable, amazing life partner Jennifer. I mean, our daughter Penelope is the light of our life. We have 6 children between the two of us. And so it is just an unbelievable blessing to be able to do life with them by my side every day. Um, but I ultimately find myself in the realm of servanthood. Anyone that knows me, I think, would say that there isn't a time that I talk to Taylor where he isn't trying to give value. And that is without ego, without boasting, that was a decision. That was a calculated decision in my life, to make sure that everyone I come in contact with, I find a way to bring value to their lives. But I love to golf. I love to spend time with my family. My parents are in Minnesota and my father down in Vegas. I love to just sit down and hang out up at our cabin up in northern Minnesota with all my family and play ice hockey and, take my son out jet skiing and stuff like that. There's just, I am most happy when I'm surrounded by family and when we're able to do just some great activities together. That is my greatest joy.
Wow, what a blessing. You come from a loving family and you're family oriented, just like well, Latinos, Filipinos are. So that is really good to hear. And because of who you are, Tay, by the way, congratulations to your baby.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. That's a great additional member of your family. And I know you're a hands-on father, so I salute you to that for that. But anyway, with the person who you are and your core values, because that's the first thing that I've ever noticed with you is like you have zero ego. It's like really, I was talking to Taylor Worre and he's like so down to earth like that. So with that said, I'd like to ask you this question. Do you support or adhere our mission? Because our mission is be the voice for the voiceless. And why?
Well, I think that, of course, I support that mission. I mean, most of my life outside of LifeVantage is spent working with philanthropic nonprofit charities, from a charity called Perspectives back in Minnesota. I work with my aunt Linda as the vice president of that charity, working with battered women and children throughout Minneapolis and the downtown area to help get those children solid education and the mothers into safe housing. From the Starkey Hearing Foundation to our own LifeVantage Legacy Foundation. I love to be in that philanthropic mindset as much as I can, because like you said, giving a voice to the voiceless, that is what I believe we're put on this planet to do. Again, very conscious decision, because I always say that you could do the right thing or the wrong thing. And a lot of the times the wrong thing is just doing nothing. A lot of the times the wrong thing is just to see an opportunity to do something beautiful and to not do it. It's not to hurt someone or to do something with intent to do harm. Sometimes the wrong thing is just not doing anything at all. So I love that the mission here is all built around being that person that's always, my mother would always say growing up, she would always tell me, she said, Taylor, life is all about making 100 right decisions every single day. We are granted with 100 opportunities to do the right thing or the wrong thing every single day. And life is all about making it through a day, doing all 100 things right. And so I love that that's what your mission is. And that's, of course, 100% of what I stand for.
Thank you. And that's a powerful words of wisdom from your mother. That's adorable. Thank you so much for sharing and supporting our mission. So I would like to turn you over to our beautiful lioness, Cara Pitron, to ask you her question. Cara?
Of course.
Thank you, Kai. I'm honored to be here tonight with you, Kai, and fellow lionesses Riza and Paulette, and of course Taylor. Thank you so much for joining us. Before I start with my question, though, I do want to say I live in northern Minnesota, so we have a bunch of snow now. So bring your snowmobiles next time you come.
I saw that you guys have got dumped on. There's so much up there.
Not even Halloween yet, so winter's starting early, but that's okay. We expect that. Anyway, then I do want to mention too, I just want to thank you for being such a wonderful, caring person. Just from what I know of you, we were at the convention in Long Beach, and I saw you in the elevator, and you made an effort to meet my husband and I, and we had a great conversation, and that's what life's about. So I just want to thank you so much for that, because it's a true testament to being a lion at heart, truly.
Well, thank you so much. That means the world to me.
My question for you tonight is, we just recently learned that you are 33 years young. And so for someone being 33 years old, you've accomplished so much in your life already. And sometimes I'm sure growing up, people knew that your father was the legendary Eric Worre. And sometimes when people come from, a successful family, they tend to maybe like kind of ride on their parents' success for their own success. But you haven't done that. You've worked very hard. You've honored your family. And I know that, like we were saying earlier, there's been ups and downs throughout your life and how you've been so successful. But could you just tell us a little bit about the struggles that you've gone through and what you've done to come out on top of all of that?
Of course, that is a good question. I'm going to be honest. I know that Kai sent over the questions she was going to ask throughout this, and I didn't purposefully look at them because I wanted to just hear them raw so I could give you guys the most authentic answer possible. I love that question. The reality is my parents, it's important that I edify both my mother and my father, because my father is the world-renowned Eric Worre, but it is important that the world knows that my mother was directly by my dad's side for 20 years as he built his fortune, as he built a lot. And from there, he has been able to do unbelievable things. But my mother is so wildly talented as well. So I talk a lot about both of them and the value that they brought to my life. But I don't know why they did what they did, but I will forever be grateful for what they did. I grew up with every opportunity to have every kind of thing given to me. And now, while I was privileged, I was blessed. We lived in an unbelievable neighborhood. We had a very beautiful house. My parents would always joke. My dad would always say, me and your mom are super rich. You guys are broke. And so he would always make it very clear that, like, look, we worked really hard for what we have, and we choose to give you what we choose to give you, which are blessings. They are rewards. They are not rights. You're not owed these things. We're giving them to you because we love you. And so I remember as early as 13 years old, I had a job all summer long when every kid on my block had their own personal golf cart, had their own credit card at 13 years old, had, the ability to do whatever and did, whatever they wanted to do. I was getting up and caddying, double loops, which is 2 bags at a time, 2 rounds a day, which is about 6, 7, 8 hours out of my day. And I was doing that all summer long from 13 on. I got my first job at 16 when I got my license and was able to actually drive because we lived on a golf course. I was able to ride my bike to that golf course every morning up to the clubhouse to be able to work. But from there at 16, I got a car, and the 2 things my parents said that they were going to give us at an early age, which we were very blessed, was a car when we turned 16, not a new car, but a car. I got a 98 Dodge Ram pickup truck was my car I got when I was 16. And I love that thing more than anything on this planet. And college, they said we would pay for college. So those were the 2 things that my parents committed to. And beyond that, they said, anything you want outside of what we give you, you have to go out there and earn for yourself. And I am just so blessed because that was the same thing. I joined a network marketing business and became a distributor when I was 18 years old, 9 days after I turned 18, May 1st, 2000, and a long time ago. But all that to say is I built for 3 years underneath my father. And in 3 years, not one time did my father put a single person into my organization. I was the youngest regional director in company history that the company that I worked with and was representing as a distributor. And that is where the struggle comes in, because from that point, I learned something very, very important. And I learned that I was going to, in this, I don't want this to come off as a sob story, because it's not. I don't want this to come off. I want this to come off as something that is raw and authentic with you guys. But I accepted very early on that I was going to have to work twice as hard as just about anyone in our space to earn any sense of validity if I wanted people to take me for real in network marketing, being Eric Worre's son. Just about everything I did as a distributor was discredited, saying, I'm sure your father built that for you. I'm sure your dad did all that for you. I'm sure your dad put everyone in your downline. Then when I went to corporate, I'm sure your dad got you that job, nice cushy job at corporate. Even though I had done events for 2 years and was offered an amazing position to be a director of events after proving my worth, it was still everything that I heard was, it was all because of your father. And so I realized that, now 15 years later in this space of just doing my best to bring value to multiple companies that I've worked with on multiple different levels. And now with LifeVantage, there are still people, and I don't, again, for everyone that might have done this in the past. I love you, and I don't want you to ever think you've done a single thing wrong. But there's very few times at a LifeVantage event where I am not introduced as, hey, you got to meet, this is Eric Worre's son. You got to meet him. He's just a great guy. It's Eric Worre's son. That's who I am to the majority of people. And now, again, I love the last name that I was given. I am so blessed and so honored to have the parents that I have that have brought in the value that deems my last name so worthy. That when someone says the Worre name, there is value behind it. I find such honor and privilege in that. But I also accepted early on that I was going to have to, like I said, work twice as hard to create that name, to create that value, to let people know that I am more than just Eric Worre's son. And so that's some of the struggle, and that's some of the stuff that people don't see. They don't see the reality, because I will never, ever make a single person feel bad for coming up to me and wanting one thing or another, wanting to share a story or one thing or another. That fills me up. But to answer your question, I mean, that is a little bit, I am honored to have been instilled with that work ethic, because it was that work ethic that gave me the ability to step into network marketing, knowing it was going to be an uphill battle, knowing that it was going to be to be valued, to be looked at as just Taylor Worre. And this is, again, I don't share this really with anyone. And so this is about as authentic as I can be with you. And at the same time, I hope that there is some value taken out of this, and not just Taylor, sharing a sad story about, how we had to overcome, because I have been blessed beyond belief. I have been so blessed. But it has been just a wild ride. I mean, not many people know that I became a father, and not to be too detailed, I guess, but I didn't know my son's mother when my son's mother got pregnant. To give you an idea of that story, I was 20 years old. I had just moved to Utah. I was just starting to work as a corporate officer for this company, as a director of events. Life kind of hits you when it hits you sometimes, and you have to pivot. You have to grow up. You got to figure stuff out. My son is about to turn 12 years old, which I can't even fathom or understand. But everything that happens, I mean, you see these quotes all the time, and the quotes are hard, right? Because the quotes, you hear them, and when you're in a moment of hardship, they frustrate you. When you're in a moment of happiness and things are going good, they are like your fuel. But a quote when you're not doing that well just is kind of just like, it upsets you. It upset me. But we always talk about digging your well before you're thirsty. We always talk about coming into this space of really the growth that you need to have to weather the storms that are going to come in your life. A lot of people talk about digging the well before you're thirsty in a financial aspect. What are you doing to be prepared for the next virus? What are you doing to be prepared for? I think of it very differently. I think of it as, how are you preparing yourself for the next mental war that you're going to have to face? Mm-hmm. Are you digging a well of prosperity in your mind so that the next time a hardship comes along, you have some mental fortitude to be able to handle that? Because I knew very early on that was going to be the case. And I have done nothing but pour myself into as much personal development as I can, so that I have the fortitude and the strength necessary to overcome the ignorance. And sometimes it's complete loving ignorance. It's not like ignorance for ignorance sake. But that is in a long-winded answer. The blessings that I got from my parents gave me the strength and the fortitude necessary, I think, to overcome every one of life's obstacles. And it started at those early pivotal ages.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Thank you so much. And thank you for being so raw and open with us about the stories. And it just shows you that, we're all human, and we need those challenges sometimes, like you said, to kind of change our path. And they seem maybe hard at the time, but when you look back, there's such a blessing too. And that story just proves that, you know, such a remarkable story on something so unexpected, but really such a blessing too. So thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate that so much.
Of course. And the last thing I want to say in regards to that is the biggest change in my life, honestly, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, I'm sure, as we get going here, but about 4 or 5 years ago, I came to the epiphany in this complete acceptance that every obstacle that came into my life was happening for me, not to me.
Mm-hmm.
Every single thing that was happening in my life that I looked at as a struggle, that I looked at as a pain point, that I looked at as an obstacle, was actually just an opportunity masked as those things. And in those moments, I found the ability, if the whole world, I believe, could accept this, could find that there's not a single person on this planet that has ever found any level of success that has not had to overcome insurmountable obstacles in order to do it. Nobody has had the easy road that has gotten to that level of real success, of real happiness. Because what I know is that the universe is always going to challenge you.
Yeah.
And it's those ones that are strong, those ones that are willing to look at the obstacles as opportunities and say, yes, I've got another obstacle coming. It means I'm growing. That means I'm doing something right. Because gosh, if I was just seeing the same stuff over and over again, I'm really not going anywhere. I'm just treading water.
Mm-hmm.
And so obstacles, turn those obstacles into opportunities. And that was one of the biggest things that changed my life.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was wonderful. Risa's up next, and I don't know how we can find out any more amazing information, but she's going to have a question for you too. So take it away, Risa.
I love it. Oh, you're on mute, sweet girl. There you go.
Hello everyone. I'm Risa Connell, a pioneering lioness too, and I'm from Covington, Georgia, but originally in Philippines. Today, I am very honored to introduce you, Taylor Worre. And I remember when I went to an event in Cancun, I have a picture on you with Anika Davis and the other ladies there, Filipinos. So I was shocked when Kai said to me that you have to interview Taylor Worre. Oh, wow, I can't believe it. Oh, Kai, I saw him on the event in Cancun and I know him and I have a picture with him. And so I'm so honored, Taylor. Thank you so much. So my question to you is about in chapter 6 is about correcting errors in the past. So every human being make mistakes in their lives, for no one is perfect, right? So could you please inspire our audience and share one significant example on how you made a change for one wrong decision you made?
I would love to, Risa. Thank you so much for the question. And you did so perfect. You're so amazing.
Thank you so much.
You're so incredible. And I want you to know that we are going to take 100 more pictures together, me and you. And I am so excited to see you soon. I don't want you to ever feel nervous or anything talking to me, because me and you, we are friends. And so friends aren't nervous to talk to friends. But I think that is a great question. And I would be happy to answer it, because like we talked about, one of the biggest things for me, one of my biggest mistakes that I made throughout most of my 20s was a lack of emotional intelligence. I made a lot of decisions based on, I guess you could call it emotional unintelligence. It if it got me really, really jacked up, if it was really, really exciting, whatever, it could pull me in a direction that could distract me from other things. And I really got really, really secure with that in all of the relationships in my life when I turned 30 years old. From 29 to 30 was a big change for me because I realized that I had been doing things wrong. I had been allowing my emotional state to control way too much of who I was. And I allowed people, way too many people around me, control over me. I realized that, I don't know if you guys feel like this sometimes, but the person that I was in my 20s, you could say one offhand comment to him and it would mess him up for like a month. You could be like, man, he's like really not that good looking. And let me hear that, it would mess me up for a month. You could be like, his speech was kind of crappy. He wasn't really that inspiring. And it would, like, I wouldn't sleep for like 5 days. I would not be able to stop thinking about it for real. It would mess me up, seriously. And in tune, I was so validated by you guys, by the distributors. And so most of my fulfillment was only made at events when I would be there and be surrounded by other leaders and other people and distributors and get to take all the pictures and hear all the stories. And that would like fill up my tank. And then it would just deplete and deplete and deplete and deplete because you'd hear one thing or another. We all hear things about ourselves. This is a very small world. And especially in your organizations, it's even smaller. If one little offhand comment is made, it is heard by everyone very quickly. And it doesn't even have to be a mean comment. It could just be like maybe she shouldn't do the presentations anymore. Maybe someone else should do them. She's still learning. She's still working. Stuff like that messed me up. And so emotional intelligence, I started to take really seriously when I turned 29, and I worked on it for a year. Really hard, to the point where I got very, very serious. There's kind of like a rule of 5. Jim Rohn would always talk about these different laws. The law of averages, the law of use, the law of all these different things. And so I kind of came up with I decided that I was going to allow 5 people access to my emotional space. 5 people. If you were one of those 5, then you don't get to hurt me. You can say whatever you want about me. You can come at me with the fire. You can not like me. You can love me. You can do whatever. But none of that really, I just found a way into my 30s to get very, very even. Now, my passion, I think, is unmatched by any human being. I would like to see anyone try to match my passion. When I get fired up, it is very hard to match me. But when it comes to just emotional intelligence, having the ability to set boundaries within your own mind, to be able to control the real things that matter in life, a family member passing, to handle a promotion at work without getting egotistical over the top, thinking that you're all that. Losing a loved or a relationship, a breakup. I mean, you guys, I basically had to fight to see my son for like the first 6 years of his life. It was not easy building a relationship and trying to get to know somebody that you never knew before and raise a child with that person at the same time, figure out. It was not easy. But I believe that everything that is important is worth fighting for. My emotional intelligence was worth fighting for, the same way that my son was worth fighting for. Once I got that down, I was able to correct most of the mistakes that I was making in my life. I was able to course correct and realize that when you're in a solid mental state, decisions come a lot clearer. The right path tends to open up a lot more clearly to you. When you're in an emotionally heightened state or an emotionally down state, those right decisions get very foggy. when you're in a really down state, really bad decisions can get very clear for you out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, making a really stupid decision can seem like a no-brainer, like it's what I have to do. On the flip side, it goes the same way, that when you're in an emotionally heightened state, that maybe I should, do you know how many people I've seen get to one company in network marketing, blow up to a level of success, kind of on like a very limited base wave of momentum, and then go, I'm quitting, I'm going to become a coach. I'm going to go coach the world. I'm going to go become the next Taylor Worre. I'm going to go do all this, that, and the other. It's like, I wish that people would find a way to step into that space of emotional intelligence more, because for me, it was the biggest blessing in my life. The last 3 years of my life, I have literally been able to manifest every single thing I have ever wanted into my life. And I'm not joking when I say that. 3.5 years ago, I started this practice, and most of it revolved around the advice I got from Tony Robbins. He told me, and you guys have heard me say this a million times, but if you trade your expectations for appreciation, your entire life will change overnight. And so I worked for an entire year to trade my expectations for appreciation. And I was able to manifest, you guys, I'm not kidding. 3.5 years ago, I just left a job where I was getting death threats. I was the face of a company that basically lied to me. And in turn, I lied to the field for almost 8 months, unbeknownst to me. Now, you can call that ignorance on my part. You can call that whatever. I accepted all responsibility, and I felt horrible for what happened. But the second I found out the truth, I resigned and left that company. I decided that I needed to give it up, and I was going to manifest and appreciate everything in my life. But what I said is I wanted 3 things. 3 things. I wanted to find my dream job. I wanted to find the career, the space where I could impact the most amount of lives possible, where through my journey, through all the value that I've been given from those that have come before me, that I could impact the most lives possible with that value. Number 2, that I could find the woman that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. I was very patient. I was very strategic in saying that I was not going to settle, that I was going to wait for the woman that was destined for me to spend the rest of my life with to show herself, and that I was not going to rush it. And in that moment, I said, I am going to appreciate all that is, and I am just going to let her come to me when the time is right. The third thing is I desperately wanted my son in my life. My son, just to give you an idea, for the last 4 years had been across the country in Chicago, Illinois. I had to see him fly out there every other month to spend a weekend with him. And I had him on summers and holidays. And that was the time I had with my son. And it was not easy. I wanted to be with my son full time. Those were the 3 things that I manifested. Within 6 months, I found LifeVantage. 6 months after that, my son, I got a call out of nowhere from my son's mother. For some reason, and I didn't know why at that point, but they were packing up all their stuff and they were making a move back to Utah, where I lived. And I was able to take my son to school every day. I was able to be there with him. I was able to be a full-time dad. And then 6 months after that, Jennifer came into my life. When I tell you that, you could fast forward it. Everything has been manifested in my life. You could fast forward it to a year ago. You think that the picture's been great since there. It hasn't. Life happens, you guys, and it doesn't stop happening. A year ago, Jennifer and I were on the verge of breaking up because our relationship was long distance. I was living in Utah. She was in Pennsylvania. And it was getting harder and harder and harder to do me traveling out there every month to be with her and the kids. And for us to be able to, spend the time together that we needed to spend the time together for our relationship to flourish. Some of you might know this, but many of you probably don't. But we experienced a miscarriage 6 months before that. And we're still dealing with the pain and the grief of all of the things that happened throughout that. We were getting through it together, but it was still incredibly hard. I remember being on a phone call with her, and she'll tell you if you ever get the chance to talk to her. We were on the phone. I was in Utah, and it was an emotional conversation, but I told her, I said, Jennifer, I promise you, I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't, because my corporate office doesn't allow me to work remotely. Doesn't allow it. We're a publicly traded company. It doesn't allow me to work, or else I'd be there with you full time. And you have 4 children out in Pennsylvania. It makes no sense for you to uproot them all out of their lives from 16 down to 6 years old and move them out to Utah. We're in a hard spot, but I promise you that I am manifesting this into existence, and that I believe with everything in my heart that the universe is going to present us with an opportunity for us to be together full time, for us to have the life that we wanted. Let me preface by saying that for anyone and everyone that has been negatively affected by this current pandemic that we are dealing with, or have been dealing with for the last 8 months, that my heart goes out for you. That if there's anything I could do to take away any pain or any fear or any scared feelings or anything that you're feeling, I would do it. But for me personally, this has been the biggest blessing that has ever come into my life. Because 1 month after that phone call, the stay home order came into place. And one day after that, I was able to pack up multiple pieces of luggage. That was 9 months ago now. And I was able to come out here to Pennsylvania, and I have not left her side throughout one day of this pregnancy, throughout the birth of our daughter, who is a miracle. You talk about more fear, talk about the fact of a beautiful pregnancy going right, and in one snap, everything going wrong, and you being more scared than you could ever possibly be. They're throwing scrubs at me. I am racing through a hospital with Jennifer on a gurney bed, with the doctors scared out of their minds. We're bumping into walls trying to get to the operating room to find out that our daughter had the cord wrapped around her neck 3 different times, had a true knot tied in her umbilical cord 1 inch away from her belly button, to find out that in 40 years, our midwife has never delivered a baby alive with what our daughter had happened to her. When I tell you that obstacles do not stop happening, but everything happens for a reason. Every moment happens for a reason. Everything in my journey has happened for a reason, for me to be so wildly grateful and thankful for the moment that I'm in right now, where after this call, I get to go get in bed and put my daughter on my chest. And I get to go make sure all the kids are tucked in for bed. And tomorrow morning, we're going to wake up and I'm going to make pancakes and sausage for the whole family. That was something that a year ago was not an opportunity. It was not a realistic life. But I believe that that is the power of manifesting. I think that is the power of taking a mistake and the power of a changed mistake and what a changed mistake can do for you. But Riza, thank you so much. I hope that, again, long-winded answer, but I hope that answered the question. Thank you so much for asking.
Yeah, wow. Thank you. You're such an incredible, full of wisdom. I'm pretty sure who's watching here, they get nuggets on you.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're so inspirable for us. And
well, you know what, Riza, you're an inspiration for me.
Change is a sense of purification, like a diamond in the rough. So I'm gonna turn over you to Flip. Flip, take it away.
Thank you, Riza. Thank you. And Taylor, this is an honor to speak to you. I haven't had a chance to meet you in person yet, so I guess I'm a single out here about that, but hopefully
not for long. We're going to make it happen.
That's right. So my question is a little bit long. Kai is very selective when choosing her mentors. Their core values have to align with hers. She came from extreme poverty, and because of her background, she is attracted to humble and benevolent leaders. So she appreciates that you have no ego. And please give us some insight on how you have stayed grounded and who are the people who influenced you to stay humble.
Great question. Thank you so much, Paulette. I appreciate you being on here. And I really do look forward to getting to know you more and getting to meet you in an event for us to get our million pictures together, which will make me happy. But I just think that, you know, ego is such just a cancer, right? I mean, it's like starts as one little cell in the body, and the more you get of it, the more it just takes over and it becomes all consuming. And ego says, I know all, you need to come to me. There is nothing about me. I am a compilation of hundreds and hundreds of network marketing, personal development, and thought leaders from around the world. I am just a vessel that has collected everything. Nothing I say is very original. It's just compiled value of everyone that I've had the ability and honor to be able to spend time with in my life. Now, if there was one thing that is me, it is that lack of ego. It is that sense of wanting to bring value. It is seeing that every person matters. If you could walk around with me for a day in my life, and I mean literally for today, for instance, I had to go to, I had to go to the meat market yesterday. I had to go to the market yesterday. I had to go to Lowe's yesterday, and I had to go to the gas station. There was probably 40 people that I passed by at some point throughout my day and interactions, whether it was just in a store or at the gas station or one thing or another. There is not a single human being that I came in contact with that I didn't say something nice to. Not a single one. Even if it's, oh, pardon me, sorry, let me get out of your way. I'm sorry, excuse me, sorry. Have a great day. Or if someone's checking me out, me reassuring and saying, I just hope you know how much I value you and how much I genuinely appreciate what you do. I'm sure in your job, you probably never get told thank you. And so I just wanted to say thank you today and hope that you just have a beautiful and a blessed rest of your day. Every human being I come in contact with, it gets that kind of greeting from me. And it does not matter what kind of mood I'm in, because I realized a long time ago that good days or bad days be damned. I don't care about what kind of day I'm having. Everyone on this planet is walking a singular journey on their own, and they're all coming in contact with all of these different hardships every day. Who am I to say that the person I'm coming in contact with, how do I know that they didn't just lose their child? That their hardships make mine look like I just spilled coffee on the kitchen table. And so every person I come in contact with, I mean, I think it really just comes down to the fact that I really love to love. I love to love, not to be loved back, but just because loving feels good to do. I think far too often, most people love to get loved back. They show love to be reciprocated with love. I just don't live that way. I accepted a while back that you don't need to love me back in order for me to love you. I'll give you a very real example. My sister. I love my sister more than anything on this planet. Alexandra Lynn Worre. She is Cordell now. She's not a Worre anymore. She's married with a beautiful, my niece Elliot. But my sister and I love my sister with everything. But for some reason or another, my sister has reservations about having a relationship with me. I don't know why, but I call my sister every week, 4 times a month, every month for the last 2 years. We talk maybe, on holidays and special occasions and stuff like that. I'll get to see a FaceTime with my niece and stuff like that. But for me, it is always important to know that if, God forbid, anything were ever to happen to me, that there wouldn't be a moment in time that she wouldn't know that her big brother didn't love and care about her, that he didn't think about her every day, that he wasn't proud of her and the woman that she was becoming. became. I love this book. I love this book a lot. I actually started writing my own book, and I don't want to talk about my own book at all, but it's because it's not going to come out for a decade. But the whole story and the whole purpose of my book embodies so much of what this is about. But everything that I talk about in my life, just to give you an example of my life, this book will be my life encapsulated. And the title of this book will be called The Day After You Die, a guide to living your best life. And the question that I pose, and this is what I live by, is why is it? Why is it that so many people on this planet wait until the day after the people that they love most have passed on to say the things that they know most about them, speak them into existence? Why is it that we wait to speak the beauty of those that we love most into existence after they're no longer with us? I see people, it's just horrible to see people passing, but every time someone passes, you see the exact same thing. I wish I would have told them. I wish I would have let them know. I wish they would have known how much they mattered. I wish they would have known what an impact they had on my life. The reason why I have no ego is because I consciously chose not to. And I stay grounded. My number one thing I do to stay grounded, and I invite anybody that wants to do this because it's the easiest way I've found to work your way into speaking greatness into all those around you. I have a very large family. My family is very big. I've got, 25 aunts and uncles. I've got 75 plus cousins. I've got a lot on both sides. I got a big, big family. And I made the decision 2 years ago now, 2.5 years ago, that I was going to call every month. I was going to call every single member of my family. Every one of them. With the sole intention of doing one thing. I was just going to call them and tell them that I loved them. That they mattered to me. That they were important. And again, that I was proud of them. It's over 100 phone calls a month. And I did it every month for a couple of years. Over the years now, I've realized that some people value it, some people don't, some people get annoyed by it. So I try to respect their boundaries. But I still probably on average make about 45 to 50 calls a month now. And they can expect it every month. And they know that I'm just going to call and say the same thing. But I found that when I first started doing it, there was people in my life that I would have bet my life savings that they were told on a regular basis the things that I was saying about them because they were such amazing people. People like my Aunt Sarah, who I got to say, I just want you to know you are just one of the most caring and thoughtful people I've ever met. You have such a tribe of friends around you that support you so much, and they do that because of the person that you are, because you are such a giver. You're such an amazing human being, and I'm so honored that I come from a bloodline that has you in it. And she was crying, and she said, Taylor, no one has ever said the words that you just said to me before. No one's ever said that to me. And a woman that I thought was sitting there hearing this all the time because she's just amazing. But that's again where we come from in our minds, is we will downplay ourselves so much and upplay everyone else around us to think that they hear it all the time. They don't need to hear it from me. Who am I to tell them that they're great? Who am I, a 33-year-old, to be mentoring someone like Kai Hayes, an unbelievable elite leader, multi-six-figure earner on her way to being multi-million-dollar earner in LifeVantage? Who am I to be mentoring her? A lot of people want to ask questions and point fingers. A lot of people want to let the ego mess with them. But when it's just value-based, and when your whole life is just predicated upon serving others, there is no room for ego. Because I don't do it for the thanks, and I don't do it for the I don't do it for the snapshot pictures of me on Facebook saying, "Oh my gosh, this was so much value." That's great. And if I brought value to one person's life tonight, it was worth me spending an hour with you here. One person. I'm just so grateful that you guys wanted to get to know me. You know, just who I am, just good old Taylor. Just because there's, you know, it's rare that I'm just humbled in this moment, just to have such people that I respect as much care enough to want to hear my story. And so, Kai, I am grateful for you and Riza and Kara and Paulette, and just thank you so much for having me on here and asking such great questions. I don't know if there's any more, but so far they have just all been amazing.
I would just like to say that, yes, I've gotten value from Wednesday night and from tonight, and so thrilled that I've got to be a part of this. And it's been a total privilege. So thank you, Kai, for allowing me to be co-hostess with Kara and Riza. And back to you, Kai.
Well, thank you, Paulette. It's an honor and pleasure, of course. And thank you, Kara and Riza, especially Riza. You did a great job. And you guys for helping me out tonight, getting to know Taylor deeply on a personal level and got to know his remarkable heart. Taylor, this is priceless. I mean, how many individuals who are privileged to be able to kind of like interview you on a personal level, and you are willing to share your heart without any bar. Such a powerful story, an amazing life filled with miracles. You are taught and brought up well. I love the person that who you are and who you have become. You are an amazing, remarkable human being, and we are just all fortunate to have you in our show tonight and in our lives beginning today, of course. And thank you, Tay. You are a warrior in life, a true lion at heart. And in behalf of my Lioness Circle, we love and respect you. And this book of yours, we are going to promote this even before you have it published. We're going to quote you left and right for this.
This is the only book I want to talk about. This book right here. I want everyone who's watching
That's
this
good.
to go get
They
this
can get
book.
that at kaihayes.com, definitely. And
Go get
thank you,
this
Tay,
book.
for reading my book and being able to love what it's inside the book. And I would say from our own Filipino language, maraming salamat mula sa aking puso. That means thank you very much from my heart. In behalf
Thank
of
you
Mike,
so much. Thank you, Kai.
we
Thank
love
you,
you
Riza.
and thank you. We
Kara.
enjoy this. This is so much fun, right, ladies?
Yes, it's been awesome.
Oh my God. What a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you. And we'll give you back to your beautiful wife and your baby angel and your family, of course, your children. Love you. Thank you. What a joy. What a joy to have you.
Thank you.
I love you. Thank you.